From the Ventura County Office of Education, this is the Focus on Education podcast. And now, here's your host, Ventura County Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Cesar Morales.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Focus on Education. Today we're exploring the way schools support students who are in the process of learning English. We'll also look at the growing popularity of dual language immersion programs and explore the effort to bring ethnic studies to California schools. Dr. Leticia Ramos is an expert in all of these areas. She's the Director of Instructional Support Services here at VCOE. Leticia, thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, Dr. Morales.
Dr. Ramos, I'm going to be asking you a series of questions and then give us an opportunity to just have a good conversation about these topics. Which students are considered English language learners, and how many are there in Ventura County schools?
Our state of California is moving away, California Department of Education, from that deficit label of English learners and moving towards the terminology of being more assets-based pedagogies, asset mindsets, and as we speak today, I'll interchangeably use English learners with multilingual learners in order that we are emphasizing the assets that our students bring into our school campuses, our communities, our county and state as a whole. And so what I'd like to define English learners from the terminology of the CDE, California Department of Education, it's all the students who already bring the asset of a language from home, a heritage, lineage language. In the case of our county, about 80-90% of our students who are labeled as multilingual learners speak Spanish. And so the majority of our county students come with the home language of Spanish, and they're entering our campuses in our U.S. schools to learn English formally, added to their linguistic repertoire as their second language. So how that is determined in our state is when parents, legal guardians first matriculate or register a student for the first time in a U.S. school. In our case in California, they complete a home language survey. And there's 4 questions. And if in any of the first 3 questions the parents indicate a language other than English that is spoken in the home, then the student gets flagged as an English learner or multilingual learner, and then follows assessments to determine their proficiency levels. In order to know what program, what services, what supports to put in place at the school site.
So what numbers are we looking at here in our county?
Yes, so presently, I'll say presently meaning just this past school year, 2024-2025, our CDE data quest shows that we had a total enrollment of 122,810 students, and of those students, 23,244 are designated as multilingual learners, and so that represents about 19% of our population.
Good. So according to what you shared with us, 80 to 90% of that 23,000 have a primary language of Spanish, and the rest are represented by multiple languages spoken across the county.
So that is a great statement, Dr. Morales, because we have the 5 top languages in our county are, again, Spanish, 80%. And when I say five top languages spoken in our county by our multilingual learners, 80% their primary language, home language, is Spanish. But we also have Otomian, Mixteco, Mexican indigenous languages from Mesoamerica, which encompasses 4% of our multilingual learners. So really these students are coming in trilinguals because they've got the Spanish, they've got their indigenous language, Mexican American indigenous language from Mesoamerica, and now they're layering formally in our institutions the English language. And then Russian, Arabic, and Vietnamese are followed by 1% of our students in each respective language.
Thank you. So what are schools doing to help English learners and our multilingual learners become proficient in the language?
Well, we abide by our California Department of Education educational code, the California law, and the numerous guiding documents, of which includes our Common Core State standards and all of the standards that we are to abide, and our students reach mastery from one grade level to the next to ensure high school graduation and be college and career ready. And what one of the more current policies is the California English Learner Roadmap. And so that policy is our state policy on how we are to educate our English language learners in the state of California. And that policy holds 4 very rich and robust aspirational principles that we as local educational agencies, school districts, schools are to abide to ensure that our multilingual learners are reaching those high quality educational milestones in order that they too can graduate and be college and career ready. What I'll also add here is that we have the Global California 2030 Global Initiative. We also have now Prop 58, which is the California Education for a Global Economy. So and amongst many other guiding documents, Dr. Morales, that are all in our state towards supporting fully multilingualism, multiculturalism. And so the whole goal is that every child in this state, when they graduate by 2040, the grand goal is everyone, but the goal set by these initiatives is that by 2040, 2 out of 3 of our graduating seniors graduate with the state seal of biliteracy. So that is the big umbrella goal by 2030, 2040, that our students are multilingual, multicultural, and that we are preparing them in the state of California for the global economy to be global citizens.
That's great. How do we respond to those who say schools shouldn't be providing extra support to English language learners?
Well, I will start with this on that one. First, it's a civil right, right? And so when we talk about multilingual learners, what our state and even nationwide research now, contemporary research is showing, is that the vast majority of our students entering our schools now, they are not a monolingual English, they're not a monolingual Spanish, they are bilingual. So there is research from Europe, even within the United States and Canada, that bilingual language acquisition is actually a language. Because if we think of ourselves as bilinguals, biliterate, we are not 2 monolinguals, 2 different students, a monolingual Spanish, a monolingual English. No, our brain is one, and our multilingual learners use all of their linguistic repertoire. So whether they are bilingual, trilingual, when we approach a reading or a conversation, anything within the 4 domains of how we acquire a language, which is, it starts with oracy, listening, speaking, and then we move into literacy, reading and writing. We use everything we know within that linguistic repertoire of ours to make meaning of our learning, make meaning of the teaching we're receiving, make meaning of the world and even our place in the world. So what I say is that Our students are coming in as bilinguals, and that is a tremendous asset. And it's not only here in the US, Europe, it is common in some of the European Union nations to speak 2 or more languages.
So as educators, we pride ourselves with personalizing the experience to the needs of the student. So for a monolingual student, they would approach the instructional program in a certain way that may differ from that of a multilingual learner. But now, changing gears, we have dual language immersion programs that are benefiting both monolinguals and multilingual learners, and emerging a new group of people that may have begun as monolinguals that are now developing and emerging multilingual students themselves. So what are these dual language immersion programs, and how many do we have across the county in all of the school districts in our county and charter community?
So I'll address, so yes, in our county for the grand part, there are 2 grand educational programs that we offer. And one of them is dual language immersion with the grand goal of bilingualism, biliteracy in 2 languages. And then there's also structured English immersion, English only per se. And when we think of our multilingual learners, so I'm saying they're still in a bilingual pathway through our structured English immersion programs, where part of the guidance and support from our state is that an educational code is that every local education agency, district, and school with an English learner, they must offer a comprehensive English language development program, which means integrated ELD and designated ELD, because students need to enhance their language skills in order that they can access content. So when we think of mathematics, and we think of science, we think of social sciences, right? Those are all core subject areas. Well, integrated and designated ELD is also a core instructional program for multilingual learners. And so the whole goal there from our state is to still celebrate and sustain the language and culture of our students that they bring from the home, from their lineage, from their heritage. And with dual language being the most equitable educational program as of now, that program, with this extensive research, was created for multilingual learners in order that it would be a fully culturally sustaining educational program where there is no eradication of language or culture. And so dual language programs, we have 35 as of now in our county. Some of our school districts are still exploring a program, giving families, their communities an opportunity and a choice of program in order to have their own children, whether they're native English speakers or they're multilingual learners, to serve them in this biliteracy program whose goals are at the end that they are high achieving in the academics in both languages, and that they are solid in an understanding and true embracement of global citizenship, of world's peoples and languages through cross linguistic understanding and embracing of peoples, and also critical consciousness, right? That social justice piece of how we need to view the world, because we tend to understand each other and embrace each other in our similarities, but dual language education is all about the differences, embracing our differences.
Dr. Ramos, why have dual immersion programs become so popular? Many of the districts who have them say they're highly subscribed programs with a high interest. And what's being done to meet this type of demand?
And so, dual language education is not new to the U.S. Actually, it's been around since the 1960s. And when we think of European nations again, right, the norm also for decades has been 2 or 3 languages. Now, it made its way in the 1960s here in California. If we look historically at all of the federal and state cases that have that fight and struggle for bilingual education and just quality education for multilingual learners, for people of color, and the grand contributions that they bring onto the campuses. And so popularity has, in a sense, come from a view of how high achieving and rigorous these programs are, and the benefits, as we spoke earlier, of not only the economic benefits to students who are bilingual, biliterate, but cognitively the skills, the problem solving that comes with that. And when students get to about the 4th and 5th grade, regardless of the model of the program, whether they're in an 80-20, 90-10, 50-50, by 4th, 5th grade, they've leveled 50-50 in both their languages, and they start superseding academically their English-only peers in structured English immersion or English-only programs. So they are sought out by families, by communities, and educators because of the benefits they give the individual. When we think of a child, a human being, bringing their whole humanity onto the campus, we are looking at a future professional who globally, we want them to globally be a citizen, again, a worldly citizen.
We definitely encourage any community member who is interested in a dual immersion program for their child, their grandchild. Please reach out to your local school district that has dual immersion programs and ask questions. Definitely reach out to parents who might have their children in these programs. And ask away. Ask any of the questions. They're definitely highly successful, and the students, as Dr. Ramos points out, are highly successful for the long term in their academic career. We're going to switch gears a little bit. The Gold Coast Ethnic Studies Conference is coming up on October 4th. What can you tell us about the event and all the things that are leading up to it?
So, this will be our second Gold Coast Ethnic Studies Conference, and it is a wonderful space, a collaborative space for educators of ethnic studies. I have to give grand kudos to the Oxnard Union High School District Ethnic Studies curricular team. So a shout out to Reiko, Ben, Lindsay, and Tirsa, who are the colleagues I've been working closely. It was their vision. A conference was their vision, and our Ventura County Office of Education was tapped to be a partner. And so leading up, we have scholars, practitioners, sessions from practitioner scholars that are coming from up north all the way to south San Diego area. Last year we had about an attendance of 200 people, again from all over the state, from around the different counties in our state, not only as attendees but as presenters, as facilitators of sessions. And again, what makes this partnership so special is because it's a partnership with one of our school districts. And so, this year we are bringing a renowned heavyweight keynote speaker, Dr. Tara Yoso. And Dr. Yoso's work on the community cultural wealth is cited again worldly. And so we are very much looking forward to, again, a full house where colleagues from transitional kindergarten all the way to 12th grade just come, educators, and join again this collaborative space to make connections with each other, to learn best practices in ethnic studies, its principles, its pedagogy. Because ethnic studies is, as we talked about earlier, multilingual learners, and we talk about dual language education, it's all about humanity. And it's all about the race, the ethnicity, the languages of the contributions of people of color across our nation, but in this case celebrating California, and so being such a part of the identity of a human being. And so we are very excited. Yes.
I'm extremely proud of the education community in continuing to collaborate with one another across districts and across the state. As Dr. Ramos points out, we understand that some of the mandates have put a pause on some of the implementation that's required statewide, but that hasn't slowed down the work of many of our districts, our individual educators that are so passionate of celebrating everyone's contribution to the great history and our great nation here in the United States, where everyone's contribution is valued and celebrated through ethnic studies curriculum as an enhancement of the experience for all. That'll wrap it up for this episode. Dr. Ramos, we really appreciate you being here today. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Focus on Education is a production of the Ventura County Office of Education. We encourage you to subscribe and join us each month for new episodes. You can find Focus on Education wherever you get your podcasts or at vcoe.org/podcast. We also welcome your feedback. You can email us at communications@vcoe.org.